Grandpa, you got your beer or whatever?
Modelo.
Oh, you drinking? Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna drink. I had some of that. What you call that water you bought?
What is what?
You left me some water. That's the name of
Oh
it.
yeah, that
What?
that was it's not water, it's alcohol.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was gonna bring up. Then I saw that Modelo down there. I said, well, hey, that's more like beer.
Mm, mm.
I see that. You
Let's
got a
see.
bookshelf right. That bookshelf always been there.
Yeah,
First time I seen it.
let's beer in, Grandpa. What you got?
Oh, you want me? Well, we ain't on yet.
Oh, we've been on.
You're kidding.
No.
Yeah, I got this Modelo here. Good drinking beers are special. In fact, it's been around since 1925. It's a special. I'm trying to say
I
with
think we
alcoholic
I think we know
content.
about Modelo.
Ah,
Oh, Uncle Pooh Bear jumped on here.
oh, he did. Yeah,
I
I can't.
think
I got
he might just.
glasses on.
Oh yeah, he told us mute. But so yeah, he got Modelo. Cool, 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 cool. All right. Uh, let's see. Well, I got Black Irish.
Well, I ain't never heard of that. Of course, there's a lot I ain't never
Just
heard of.
came
That's a
out.
beer.
It-
Oh yeah.
no, this is no, this is what is this actually? It says on the bottle. It says it's a cause for celebration. It's like Bailey's.
Bailey.
It's like Bailey's.
Bailey's ain't no beer.
I know. I said it's like Bailey's.
Or that's like Bailey's.
Yeah, this is Mariah Carey's one that just came out.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, let me see what this is about.
Black
Let's see.
Irish.
Yeah, that's a good pour right there.
Yeah.
It smells good.
Yeah.
What's happening, good people?
Another Uncle Pooper he had a meeting, but when I told him what the topic was, he made time.
Everything is good.
I had to go. I had to go get something notarized, so I had set the meeting, but then I was able to just show up, and they was able to notarize it, so I'm good.
That's welfare, people. You can just change the dynamic.
Mm.
We getting there. We working on it.
Yeah,
Cool. All right. Man, I ain't even got no beer. I'm over here sipping on wine again today.
Oh, okay.
always on wine.
Yeah. I done changed into a wine drinker.
Wino, as it were.
I have no sophistication in wine, so it's a Pinot Grigio out of the box. Boxed Pinot Grigio. I would imagine on the wine scale is probably more like a 4. Tastes good to me though. I'm gonna give it. With Dad. I'm gonna give it a 6. I
Yeah,
like.
what I'm drinking is deserving of a six. I ain't giving no six. It deserves a six.
What you got, Modelo?
Modelo.
Man,
Yeah.
we gotta get you some good stuff.
Josh drinking some Black Irish.
Yeah, you know
Black
Mariah
Irish.
Carey.
Come on.
Mariah Carey came out with that new. It's like Bailey's or Kahlua. So I like that type of stuff. So and it's the holiday season, so you gotta shake it up a bit. Let me see. So Uncle Pooh talking. So what you give? Well, you did Modelo before, Grandpa Boy. What you gonna give Modelo today?
Oh, I see it was deserving of a six. So I'm gonna give it another six. Of course, it can always move for
Okay.
expansion.
Yeah. He always give room and he never give it. He never expands. What what you sipping on, Josh?
You know, Mariah Carey came out with her own version of Bailey's.
Oh no, I didn't know.
Yeah, but I'm giving it a try. Holiday season, gotta get the holiday drinks out the way.
All right.
It
Can't wait for
smells
a little
good. There's one.
eggnog.
There's more than one version of this, but it's a white chocolate. The white chocolate version. It says crafted in Ireland, so But 17% alcohol, so this is gonna be something light. Just will smell good. It smells like it does smell like melted white chocolate, so I'll give it a plus. Little taste. I'm gonna create 7 just to give a pre rating.
All right, a 7.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad.
Well, that might go up. That tastes like ice cream. Like when you, not warm ice cream, but when it kind of starts to melt. That's what tastes good.
That's what
I
your
would
black
highly
Irish
recommend
tastes
it. I'm probably gonna drink
Yeah,
this.
you sound like you
I
like
would
that.
I would buy another bottle of this, man. This might not make it through this weekend.
Uh-oh.
I give it. It might move up. It might be an 8. It might be an 8. It might depending on how the rest of this week goes. It might become a staple.
Oh man. Sound like we got a winner.
We do got one.
That's
I
black
like it.
Irish. Where'd you find
Yeah.
black Irish at?
I think it was at Meyer.
Where'd you find it at?
I think it was at Meyer.
Meyer?
At Meyer. Yeah. Grandpa, you looking at the wrong camera.
Yeah, I'm looking. Well, I'm looking at that camera there. I see me.
All right. Well, do what you want to do. It don't matter. It's cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, Uncle Pooh, are you drinking something or not today?
Yeah, my wine.
Oh, it's right. I'm saying I didn't even see you drink it. I didn't see you taste it. You gotta
Yeah, a
rate
little
it.
box wine. I'm giving it a 6, but wine drinkers probably give it a 4.
Mm.
I'm a box wine drinker. Cheap wine, expensive beer.
Oh,
It
that's
averages
where
out.
go.
It averages out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's now that we got that.
Yeah, that fits a wine all pretty good,
Yes.
don't it?
Hey, keep your labels to yourself, man.
Cheap wine
As
and
you're,
expensive beer.
as you guys are the resident people who actually went to Egypt, let's talk about this this story that came out that Egypt wants the Egyptians, the modern day Egyptians, want to cancel Kevin Hart. Want to cancel Kevin Hart, his comedy show in Egypt, for being overly Afrocentric in his views about their past.
Oh, I saw something
And
about
no,
Kevin Hart.
from what I've seen and read, no one has an exact date on when Kevin Hart allegedly said these things, but he was talking about how, and I'm paraphrasing, how, and this is a statement I think that's what got him in trouble because a few people have said he said this, but they don't have
He
like
is
a
not
quote.
in trouble, first of all.
Yeah, you're right. He's not in trouble, not with us. But
This is ludicrous.
He said that Africans ruled ancient Egypt, and then people lost their minds because they don't know the history of the world.
Yeah.
But like, I find it interesting that because it's not in any American newspapers that I see this. All this stuff is like Egyptian Streets, Middle East Eye, like overseas news publications are talking about it, but not over here. So, I mean, I think it's absurd to call it something Afro, and they even said he was trying to blackwash their history. I'm like, people were making videos about like we're the only people here who built up Egypt. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like it's historical fact that the people there now migrated there a couple hundred years ago. Like what are we even doing? What are we even doing?
Hey, I got what? This is 3,500 years of a carving on a wall in Africa. So can't nobody never tell me nothing about who, what, when. I can go. I know I can go back 3,500 years and find somebody from Inkster. I swear. Man, they were identifiable. And they go back further than that. But I saw this, at it wasn't Luxor, but what's the other place?
Abu Simbel.
Abu Simbel. So I mean, I'm convinced. I don't care what nobody say no more. We were there. I know 3,500 years ago,
Look, I just
and
made a
long
picture.
before that. But I know they got proof. And if I look around long enough, I'll probably find something 4,500 years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just absurd. You can't even take that seriously, though. But that's no different than the white people over here in the United States with their revisionist history. That's all that's going on. The Arabs that are now controlling Egypt, that call themselves Egyptians,
Yeah, right.
are just conquerors that are just trying to conquer and dominate the history as well. They took control of the area. Now they want to take control and credit for the history. But, when you go see it, all that falls apart
Yeah,
because,
it definitely falls apart.
yeah, they've been trying for centuries to claim that this was not a black African civilization. And, every turn they've been thwarted. But I got to say this, the current generations are lazy. The current black and African generations are lazy. They have bought into this narrative that racism doesn't exist and all you got to do is work hard and everything's going to be okay. So I can imagine another opportunity of the intellectuals of not only Europe but of the Arab nations as well, making a run at credit on history because we are lazy, because we don't have any Sheikh Anti Diops, any Ashra Kwazis or the elders or George M. James that spent their time and excellence and expertise in intellectual warfare against these pseudo historians claiming the history. But this generation seems to think none of this shit matters. So, you know, that's what happens when you let other people educate your children. Then, they get convinced that none of this is important. And now this pseudo intellectualism could come back into place and reclaim what the ancestors had built.
I just think
When we were
it's this
how
it's the
far?
fact it will be one thing, right? Oh, I'm just trying to connect. It would be one thing if they just said they didn't like that how he was talking. Like, well, we're here now. We don't want to talk about that. But it's another thing when I saw accounts of people in these articles saying that the people there now, are who built up Egypt, and I'm like, how? Like that's an outright lie. Like you can't just like no like any archaeologist worth their salt, like who has a degree, who like has any type of integrity, will tell you that's a bold-faced lie. Even if they don't want to say Egypt was black, how you can't discount the Romans and the Greeks who were always up, who had conquered it for a period of time, and then the people before them who were what was it? They say 10% of the people who currently live in Egypt were Coptic Christians from Ethiopia, and how they migrate up there. So it's like, so Ethiopians are white. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? Like, Ethiops, like the word doesn't it mean the black skin? Like Kush and Nubia, like these the land of the Kemet, the land of the burnt faces, land of the black hairs, and all this stuff that describes black people. Like we have written accounts and papyrus, we have the not cave paintings, but we have the inscriptions on the walls, the hieroglyphics, all these things that tell you, in like, shoot, they have like scholars who came to Egypt who wrote in their I wouldn't know, let's say memoirs, but in the histories, talking about how dark the people were in Egypt. Like,
Yeah.
it's absurd. Like, and they're going to try to get away with this, but it's crazy to think that people are so intimidated by black people saying that they built up Egypt that they want to completely just shout out. They can't do that. They're not going to shout people out for this one. There's facts behind this. Bold face. Anybody can see facts.
Well, I think where the argument falls down is they don't have the control of the media as those other people do. Because if they did, you'd see it across the world, right? Because other people are lying about history as well, but they have control of systems and institutions that they can make you back down if you don't agree with they lie, right? So it's like they just punking you. So the Egyptians don't really have the modern day Egyptians. These Arabs in Egypt, I'm gonna call them what they are. These Arabs in Egypt don't really have that infrastructure behind them, right? They're not going to cancel Kevin Hart where he's going to lose a $50 million opportunity, right? If he don't come to Egypt, he don't go to Egypt. Like, yeah, all right.
I mean, what it was, it even. I was watching a documentary. I gotta find it about how this Chinese doctor was trying to figure out like where Chinese people came from, right? Like he thought that there was a separate Homo sapien, for the Asiatic people. Like he was basically his basic theory was each predominant race of people came from their own ancestral person, and he did all the genetic testing from all the provinces and all the different groups that are in China, like because there's like 100 and something different like individual groups or tribes, as it were, and he found he found that like their closest like their ancestor was very, it was just, it all goes back to Africa. He's like, and he looked at humble and profoundly like, dang man, like it just goes to show how much more alike than we all are separate. And
But that's why we
he was
need
like, if it
folks.
wasn't for the fact.
Go ahead, nephew. I'm sorry.
Oh, go on, T.
No,
No,
go ahead.
go,
Go ahead. I
go.
didn't mean to cut
You had
you
a
off.
good point. I can feel it.
No, I was just gonna
And
say,
it was just like
that
he was making the point.
we must be on a delay. I'm
Just go on, T. Just go.
I'm just messing up the show today. Like my cameras don't want to log in. Obviously, I'm on a delay. But no, that just reminds me of I had a
You on
former
Xnet.
coworker. Oh, don't say that. White chick, and she was saying how her aunt was so disturbed that when they did their DNA test, they had traces back to Africa. Duh, everybody gonna have traces back to Africa. All y'all can be as mad as y'all want, but everybody's going to trace back to Africa, point blank in the period. And I love that for the white people who want to be lily white. You ain't. You African.
Right.
Just saying.
Except
Well,
in the case of us getting referee.
We know that Africa was the cradle of civilization, right?
Exactly.
So we know everything came from Africa. So why should somebody be surprised to find out that their DNA gonna take them back to Africa?
Exactly, but they don't want to accept it. You know what I'm saying? So I think folks are just like, honestly, nephew, when you sent that message yesterday, I thought you mistyped something. That's why I was like, is this a joke? Like, what am I missing? Because Egypt is in Africa.
Look, and while we tripping, there's no such thing as the Middle East. That's some bullshit too.
Like, speak on it, Freddie Taylor.
What's even funnier is they said he was trying to blackwash their history.
What the fuck is blackwashing? What the fuck is blackwashing? We got our hands in all the things any damn way. Nothing comes from nobody but us.
It's absurd. I just don't get it. It was just so many things that were just intrinsically wrong. I'm like, you can argue about your religious views and where Christianity started all you want, even though there's proof that it obviously probably started in Africa. But the fact that there's hard historical evidence that the people who are there now have only been there for a few hundred years, and the pyramids have been there for thousands of years, and they claim that they built up Egypt. Like, I don't know how that works. Like, carbon dating is real. Like, if you took a stone off a pyramid and carbon dated it, it would like, or shoot, not even a stone, because that's not going to make any sense. If you took some like an artifact from in there from the time of the wood and all that stuff back then, they would tell you how old it was. Like, there's no way that you can make an honest assessment. Or shoot, take some mummy DNA. it's going to be way further back than a couple hundred years ago. Like what? Like it's intellectually dishonest, and it's I want to know where is our anti-defamation league that discredits people who try to discredit our actual true history.
We too busy arguing about we ain't all the same. We just want to argue. Oh, we just want to argue and bicker amongst each other. Ain't no sense of unity to come together. But we need to do something to fight this type of nonsense, right? My thing, I want to let me slant this a little bit because Kevin Hart is often silent when somebody else is being trampled and canceled, quote unquote, in the black community. But now he's at the center of it. Now I'm wondering, is he hoping and wishing that everybody going to come and speak out on his case, right?
Well, like this
That's a
this
little
was
different.
released like this stuff was released like almost a week ago, and I haven't heard anything about it until yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I just Egypt doesn't have like they don't own the media over here, right?
Well, I mean, like none of his. I would have if it was a big deal about it. I would have thought we'd have heard something from him because he was quick to apologize for the Oscars thing or whatever that thing is where he was trying to be the
Right.
host of it. But I haven't heard high nor hair from him about it. So I don't know if that's going to happen because, like you said, I don't think any real repercussions are going to come from it because most like most people know that Egypt and Africa and the Africans had to build the pyramids and built it up and all that stuff. Like it's just a fact. It's a hard fact, and it just shows how hateful people can be. Because I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, but my thing is, I'm just upset that no, I'm taking it back. I'm not upset. I'm just confused because when anyone comes to anyone else's history, the world knows about it. Like these people are wrong and blah blah blah. But and now it's in our court, and like we need to. Maybe we're not making a big enough stink about it. Like
Maybe we should make us think about it. You're right.
because it seems absurd. It seems absurd to me.
It doesn't seem absurd. It is absurd, buddy.
Right.
It
Right.
makes no sense.
One thing is sort of
None
convincing
at all.
we have been in Egypt a long time, as a black people, is all the hundreds of statues and things with the nose blown off.
Mhm.
Can you comment? Can you comment on that, Freddie?
Yeah. I mean,
Everywhere you look, nose blown off, right?
yeah. I mean, because it must be because there's a distinctive type of nose, right? That
There you go.
that they hide the imageries with.
And I'm glad I'm actually drinking tea today.
Yeah. But I would imagine that the Arabic people in Egypt that are shouting out.
Hey, go back and talk some more about that, about the nose being blown off, who people thought it was and who it turned out to be.
Who did they think it was?
What the whole theory on who was blowing off the noses and what y'all learned about who it actually was?
Well, that was about the Sphinx. Sphinx.
If you think it only happened to him,
Sphinx. Yeah, I put the P in there.
All those different pharaohs and things, they had their nose blown off, didn't they?
Yeah.
they did it to the Sphinx. You don't think they did it to everybody else too?
No, I mean they did it to the hieroglyphics on the wall. They was erasing stuff all throughout the history. But I know you're talking about the Sphinx story. Is everybody accredits, not credits. Everybody demonizes. Right, I like that angle. Napoleon for shooting the nose off of the Sphinx, but it actually wasn't him. It was actually an Arab who did it at least 15 years before Napoleon arrived in Egypt. That is documented through imagery or pictures that were taken before Napoleon got there. The nose was already removed. Because again, here we go with the Arabs whitewashing, tan washing, whatever you want to call it, the Egyptian history, the Kemetic history of the people at the time, right? Because they are trying to suppress and hide who was actually running this area, who actually built this empire. It's kind of hard to claim as you when all the evidence looks like somebody else. But
Mhm.
they are no different, right? And again, you know, they didn't even get into Africa. They didn't crack into Africa until after Muhammad, right, came in 600 AD, right? Then 642, you find out that they had finally started taking over Egypt. But if you go back thousands of years, there's thousands of years of history of this Arab trying to break through into Africa, just like the European. None of them woke up and just started to try to come into Africa. Everybody's been trying to invade the jewel of the world,
So
right?
I was just about to say, babe, I'm glad you touched on it because they some sneaky suckers. They've been hiding behind the hatred for Europeans for the longest.
Yeah,
Like
acting
most
like
people
they
don't even
friends.
realize they were part of the slave trade. Like all them slaves that were coming in that were being taken from the southeast part of Africa, they weren't being taken by the Europeans.
Right.
That's not who was coming to get us. But they've been sliding in, like everybody hate Europeans, like, ooh, yeah, the white devil, white devil, white devil, white devil. When they've been sneaking in doing all this trash for the longest.
And the Islamic slave trade was actually longer than the European slave trade, and it was just as brutal, just as dangerous, just as controlling. And it's the same thing. And you see, they talk about how slave trade ain't over, right? That's them. That's the Arabs
Yeah,
still busy.
I like to say it wasn't as brutal because in the transatlantic slave trade, there's nothing compared with that because they considered you as chattel. Well, the Arabs, they didn't consider you as chattel as where you're a piece of furniture for the rest of your life, you know.
I don't
But
know about
the
that.
transatlantic slave trade, where once you was a slave, you were supposed to be a slave forever, you know.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
how
about
brutal
that.
the slave. You was a piece of chattel, and that was proven. I think was it was it Dred Scott decision there in Missouri when he thought he was free because he was in a free state, and they said, "No, you ain't nothing but chattel. You a piece of property. No matter
Yep.
you can't get no matter where you go, you're gonna always be a piece of somebody's property."
Yep.
So I mean, that's how brutal it get. I mean, they have never got that far.
So that's
Not
what
here.
you say, but they ran the slave trade from the 7th century until the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
12, 1300 years of slavery on the African continent by these people, right? That like, man, what is that like? 5, 6 times as long as the European slave trade. Like, listen, these people were never your friends. And this is what John Henry Clark always talked about. Nobody has ever brought civilization to Africa. Nobody has ever brought any religion to Africa that was meant to be your friend. They have all been handmaidens of conquerors. They brought Christianity, they brought Judaism, and they brought in Islam. And they all was handmaidens of conquerors that were trying to get a hold of the people and the resources in the community or in the continent. Like they ain't never been our friends. That's why it always like upsets me when I see black people that fall into Islam so tough. It's like, woo, you talk slick about that Christianity, boy, but you don't say nothing about Islam. You be quiet. They be silent over what they've been doing. And 12, 1300 years of oppression, like even the white boy ain't been on your back that long. But that's what he talk about how we got with the white boy on the back because we turned to them to try to get the Arab off our back. And then you just traded one for another. But the Arabs have been trying for thousands of years, documented history of trying to crack, one of the greatest fighting forces on the planet has ever seen. Africa. Now I gotta be fired up.
No, this is great because
This is
it
my
needs to
space.
be talked about because we can't be the only people. I don't know. We can't be the only people where you can get punished for saying what your history ain't from somebody else. Like we know for a fact what our history is, and especially in this context. Like but what is it? We know what is actual things we can do to combat it though. Like what is because I know you guys just came from Egypt, right? You guys heard from the people, you heard actual facts while you were there. So like what? And you saw the people who lived there and all that, experienced it. But what is something we can do to combat this misinformation? Okay, well, I mean, don't everybody talk at once.
Yeah, I'm letting the Freddys talk since they're the ones who just came back from there.
What
You
you
got
think,
any
Dad?
ideas, Grandpa?
What you say now?
I said what?
He said, "Do
No,
you have any ideas?"
oh no, I'm thinking I want to get back to uh Shem and
Oh, you knew this was coming.
Semitic people.
That's where you set this
And
up.
from my understanding and what I read, and I'm really hot on it, is that the people that were taken from Africa were from the 12 tribes of Israel. And Judah was one of the tribes. That was one of the biggest tribes. And that they were well educated over the years. They were well educated people. You had astronomers, you had people good in the sciences, you had people good in health, and they were selected and taken out of there. So the people that came here, and that's us, we are from Shem, and not from Ham. And y'all know that's been a big argument.
Mm-hmm.
But we are Shemitic people, and this is why Kyrie was saying, how can I be anti-Semitic when I'm Semitic myself?
Mm-hmm.
But
Grandpa,
anyway,
what does
get
that?
back to the
What does
thing.
that happen?
Let me say this. Let me finish this, and then we'll talk. Hamites, the Hamitic people, not Semitic, but Hamitic people. They were somewhat, my understanding, what I've been reading, they were somewhat jealous of us. And so they weren't taking the Hamitic people, mostly were taking the people from a place called Judah, land of Judah, and even later changed it to Negro land. But most of the people are from Judah, are from the 12 tribes of Israel. And they were not from that east side, but they were coming from Israel up into the northeast part of Egypt, So all the people, they got some educated people when they came down there in the land of Judah and got the people. And they brought them over here like we were savages. No. They got the best.
Grandpa, you're off topic, Grandpa. I asked, what can we do to combat the misinformation that these Egyptians are talking about for
93 ain't never off topic.
What did you say now?
That's his answer. But that's what he's saying. His answer is you need to know who you are so that when you understand that you're from the tribe of Judah, that they can't pull this shit on you. So you know your people, you know your history. And Roy, I mean, we got to know the history. That's just the point. Like you can't be.
But we know we know my whole thing is we know for a fact that the ancient Egyptians were black.
No,
we know that for a fact.
Wait a minute now. We have ancient Egyptians who are Hamites, but the Israelites, they were not Hamitic people, they were Semitic people. And them was the ones that was in the transatlantic slave trade. That's what I'm trying to get out. Over the years, when Israel was sacked in 70 AD, all them people started migrating back toward Negro land, or you want to call it, or land of Judah, the kingdom of Judah, where Timbuktu and all them was. Now, most of all those people were not Hamite people. They were dark-skinned people, but they weren't Hamitic. They were Semitic. That's the part I was trying to get out. Are you following what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're saying, Grandpa. What I'm saying, how do you combat misinformation? Because we ourselves know what I'm saying. So if you know that for a fact what we're talking about, in the sense that their Africans were the kings and queens of ancient Egypt and built up the pyramids, things like that. We know that for a fact. How do you combat misinformation? Like we know that we've already established that we know that. How do we stop other people? How do we stop?
All the
how do we
history
stop
that we've been taught has been misinformation.
So how do we?
That's literally what these books are created on, is misinformation.
Okay. What say some more?
I'm just saying, like to say, okay, what can we do to combat it? Shit, I wish we could find out after all these years, after these hundreds of years of misinformation. Unless you have a Black history book, more than likely the stuff that's in there is misinformation. Point blank in the period. So to hone in on this one topic about Egyptians, I mean, it's not about the Egyptian. It's not about the so-called blackwashing of what they consider to be their history. It's not. The point of the fact is, well, the point of the matter is that everything about Black folks has been misconstrued and misrepresented forever.
And I'll say this, and that's because we didn't know who we were.
I told you.
Now, the Bible is a story about Black people. Now, you can put anybody else in there you want, but when you go back to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and even before that, you go back to Noah, it's all about Black people. This is what the Bible is about. It's a history of Black people. Now, somebody want to change it around and make this person white or this person blue or whatever color. That ain't so, because the original people on this planet was Black people. And if you go back with the history of the Bible, when they're talking about Lot or Abraham or Terah or whoever you want to say, it was all Black people. So let's start from there. So the Bible is about Black people. Anybody agree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying that when you base an argument off of document that everyone doesn't even agree is real, it's hard to come up with a real world case for that. Because everyone doesn't agree on the Bible being real. Everyone doesn't agree on Christianity, all that stuff. But we do have historical facts. We do have archaeologists. We do have scientific methods. We can carbon date. We can do all these things that we can prove in this realm that exists. We have documentation that proves that Africans are Black. We have all these things.
But ain't nobody ever disproved that the Bible isn't a story about Black people. Now, there's a lot of research.
We're talking about definites in our society that everyone can agree on, because for the most part, 2 + 2 is 4. We all agree on that. Everyone, you don't gotta believe in God to believe 2 + 2 is 4. That's the argument. You can't have the argument that's just based on the Bible to prove that things in history existed.
That's the only true thing there is the Bible. Just about. you take the books in the Bible. You take from Genesis to Exodus, Revelation thing. It's just a story of really what happened. Now the other stuff, if people to come up with their history of it, is not true. The Bible is a truthful thing.
But that's only because you believe that.
All right.
That's only because you believe that.
Yeah. Because I believe it, because that's the closest I've come to believing who I am.
But the Bible doesn't carry any historical facts. Like, there's nothing you can prove. There's nothing you can say. I ain't gonna say nothing. But the majority of the Bible is clearly not.
Greece and Rome. They talk about Greece and Rome, and before them, that's all in the Bible. Ain't those historical facts?
I mean, that's loose.
Historical fact when Rome burned down Israel, ain't that a historical fact?
I said not 100%, but like, let's just use Jesus. Like, in history, Jesus don't exist. In the Bible, Jesus exists. In history, Jesus don't exist. Like, that's a thing like Christians never ever want to discuss. How come there's no historical record of Jesus? Now, that's the centerpiece of the Bible, and there's no history around it. Zero. There ain't no mummy, ain't nothing. I just posted a picture of me next to King Tut. I just hung out with King Tut, who's older than Jesus, and he's still around. We can see him, and we ain't got nothing. Dude born, then he's 33 years old, then he died, and we ain't got no history.
But there's stuff that's been hidden, and that could be the one reason that you have no historical facts.
You can't talk to me about. Wait, do we have about history? You can't talk about history.
we have any historical facts about Moses?
Do we?
I was about to say,
I'm
are there
asking
any
you.
historical facts about anybody from the Bible? That's what
Yeah,
I was
do
going
we?
to ask.
What you
What
say?
Do
are there
we?
any historical facts about anybody from the Bible? That was about to be my
Yeah,
next question.
okay. Let's go back then to Herod. Now they got historical facts about Herod. They got historical facts about Rome. They got historical facts about Pilate. So evidently,
So you know when
somebody.
you're making up shit, you throw in some truth with it.
I'm just saying, a lot of stuff has been hitting. A lot of stuff that has been hitting from us is there, and it should be there.
You
It's
can't
been
lean
taken out.
on
How many
calling
books?
something true and
How
saying
many
a lot of
books
stuff
have
is
been taken
being
out of?
hidden from
How
us.
many books have been taken out of the Bible?
Where they at?
Well, maybe
Where they at?
a lot of us in what they call the apocryphals.
The Apocryphas.
The one with the books they took out.
So are
Yeah.
you reading them? Like,
I'm
Are
just
we
saying,
reading?
though, maybe that fact has been taken out for certain reasons, you know.
but if it's in another location, you can read it. So what are we talking about?
Well,
Like,
we got people who are reading that stuff. We got people who are researching it.
so your argument is the truth is still unfolding, but until it
Right.
unfolds,
That's that now. Thank you.
but until it unfolds, you're gonna declare it as the truth.
What part did I declare was the truth?
Grandpa, isn't it just easier to, like, you went to Egypt, you saw what was there, you have a first-hand account of what was historically accurate. Like, you don't gotta argue with anybody about the Bible or anything like that. You saw who was there. You saw what was on the hieroglyphs. You saw what was inside the tombs.
But I'm
You
not
saw the
arguing that.
mummies. You had a first-hand account.
I'm not arguing that point.
But that's the point you should be arguing, because that's the point.
He's saying that that's actual factual stuff that you can see, feel, and taste right in front of you that proves that this
I'm
area.
just saying some of the stuff that ain't that's historical facts may not be in the Bible. Well, now we know Herod was in the Bible, then why come Jesus wasn't in the Bible?
Jesus
Jesus
in the
was in
Bible.
the Bible.
Huh?
Jesus is in the
Bible,
Bible.
in history. I'm not in the Bible, in history.
Because it ain't no damn history of Jesus.
We know about Julius Caesar and all them people. Where is that? Where is the biblical part of it?
Perhaps it ain't no damn Jesus, and that's why there's no history.
I can't go along with that now.
I hear you, but again, you saying I can't go along with that only proves my point. You believe something. It ain't got nothing to do with historical fact and truth. You just believe that's the truth. So you can't go along with anything else that disproves it, because you believe in something. Like, belief and truth are not necessarily the same. They're not necessarily different, but they're not necessarily the same. Just because we believe something don't make it true.
Facts.
And all we saying is, when we're having debate, now if you want to argue about somebody's soul and you want to argue about and debate upon the afterlife, then that's another conversation. But if we're going to talk historical fact, like, we got to just talk with what evidence we have. And if we don't got no evidence, then we can't call that truth. We got to say, I don't know, it's on the way to becoming true or something like that.
It's anecdotal.
Anecdotal, yeah, but it's not as far as we understand in science and reason and logic and understanding and history that is true. It could be true, but there's no evidence that support it. But that's all we can argue. That's all we can debate in this realm. Again, if you want to talk spirituality and that's just a whole nother. To me, that's just a whole nother conversation, because it just comes down to what a person believes. Because you can talk all this you want to a Buddhist, and it don't mean nothing. Like, he got a whole different realm of thought process and what's important than a Christian does. So, it's just kind of who you talking to. I don't know. And I just stand in the middle, because I don't really see the importance of either of them. I just like to know what happened. And I know that my people catching hell on this planet, and we still got work to do. So that's, to me, that's enough. It's like when Malcolm X talk about in the Ballad of the Bullet. I don't come to you today as a Muslim minister. You know, we don't need you to show up as a Christian pastor. We don't need you to show up as an Islamic whatever, you know, in Judaism. We don't need you to show up as that. We not catching hell because of your religion. We catching hell because you a black man, because you a black woman. Like we got that's enough to bind us together. We catching hell from all these folks. And like we bickering and arguing over what's going to happen to us after we die and our spirituality, right? While we physically being put in chains, bondage, both economic and physical and mental. And we arguing over something else, right? Like, so Josh, I think to answer your question, we got to shake all this other shit and get centralized and focused on our future. I just came from Atlanta and I was having a discussion about black business icons. And a lot of them was born in the 1800s, the late 1800s, after slavery, right before the 1900s, and then some in the early 1900s. But all of them talked about the ballot is cool. Y'all can go vote. But if we don't got no economic strength, if we don't got control of our educational system, if we don't got control over our community and what they doing and employing ourselves, we're going to always be slaves. We're going to always be slaves. Whether you believe Jesus and the Hebrews and whatever, like the reality is where the rubber hits the road. Like we got to control this. And I just think we just fighting and running in too many different directions. I don't know. Maybe we'll wake up one day.
No, I agree with that.
Well, what I'm gathering is the Bible is steady unfolding, and we have this second coming of Christ, and this world that we in, or the ending of a world and the beginning of a new world is coming up shortly. So we'll find out.
They've been saying that for thousands of years now.
No, I'm talking about the biblical prophecy of 400 years of slavery.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Grandpa,
how
about this? How about this, right? Because you're talking biblically, right? You don't think that maybe y'all's trip to Egypt was a way of showing you real life hard evidence of something that you were like say it was a blessing, right? Say you got to experience all this stuff because now you know the truth, right? You don't got to read it in a book. You have firsthand account. How does that not supersede any other argument?
Who
you know?
Who are you addressing that? Who did you want
Say
to
it again,
answer?
nephew. That was for you, Pops.
That was for me.
I'm saying, Grandpa, you're using the Bible as saying it's the end all be all. But I'm posing you. Y'all went to Egypt. Y'all were blessed and able to get there and back safely. And you got to see all these amazing things, right? All these things that you read about in the Bible and in history books, things like that. But you didn't have to rely on the books anymore. You have a firsthand accounting. You saw these things to be real. How does that not supersede anything else?
Somebody, you lost me, and somebody else got to answer that.
So Pops, he's saying to you, how is it that you went to Egypt and you saw the real deal? How is it that you are allowing something that is a possibility overshadow what you know to be true because you saw it with your own eyes? Yeah, if you see something with your own eyes, why take somebody else's thoughts or opinion about what could have happened if you know for a fact what happened because you were there yourself?
Well, what I saw with my own eyes was just the fact that we were there. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't see. It might be related to the Bible, but I didn't see. The things I saw with my own eyes, now I swear that was the truth.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I seen that. A lot of stuff was that I didn't see.
Yeah, like Grandpa, I've never been to I've never been to Egypt, so everything I know about Egypt is essentially hearsay. Everything I've read, all that, like Auntie said, everything, a lot of these things, these books about our history, have been lied to just dissuade us from knowing about who we really are and what things amazing, great, and small we've done. But you and Uncle Pooh Bear had the opportunity that so few black people outside of Africa actually get a chance to, even within Africa don't even get a chance to. You got to see factual truth of who built that civilization and all the wonders that we're in. You don't have to guess. You saw it, you experienced it, you touched it. You ate some of the food, you were breathing the air. Like you walked the sands where if everything in the Bible is accurate, those same people walked. Like there is no argument to it because you experienced it. How does that not supersede everything else you said?
Anybody gonna comment on that?
That's you. That was for you.
He's still challenging
Well,
you,
for me-
Bob.
Well, see, here's the thing about that too is that when we went and saw, we saw what was done by man 3,500, 4,000 years ago. But we didn't know, we didn't go, they didn't go into the Bible about none of that. Now, everything I said, the Bible was about the history of black people. And I don't think they would go into the history of black people. Did we run into anything about the Bible?
No, man, because the Bible is fictional, and we was
No,
there.
I don't say it's fiction.
Hold on, because first of all, the Bible was written in 340 something AD, which was thousands of years after the place that we visit, the stuff that we built was built on. There's no need to talk about the Bible because this was what was happening before the Bible, way before the Bible. And I looked up because I've never heard this 400-year prophecy, so I had to go Google it, right? So I see it now in Genesis
That's
and what.
the talk of the day, the 400-year prophecy. You ain't heard nothing about it?
Yeah, I don't pay attention to fairy tales. So
this came out of the Bible. It ain't no well.
No, I'm about to show you why it was a fairy tale. Your 400 years you equate to, I'm assuming, where I like this 1619 to 2019, right? The 400-year period. Well, Africans were enslaved in the 7th century by the Arabs. So I'm assuming that the Bible missed that. It missed that 800-year period before.
But here's something you keep talking about the Arabs. The Moors were Arabs. The
Moors were everything.
700 up until 1400. Wait, let's go back to the thing. We had some black Arabs, right?
No. The Moors were not Arab. The Moors were African.
Ruled by black people.
The Moors were Africans who had Islamic. They actually had all of. They had all the denominations.
What's the definition of an Arab?
An Arab, by definition, means a traveler or a nomad. It's not an actual group. It's not a race. It's a title.
They were definitely travelers and nomads.
Did the Moors come in to Europe?
So are you trying to say that the Moors enslaved Africans and moved them eastward? Is that your comment?
The Moors enslaved Africans?
Yeah, is that why you're trying to make this correlation between Moors and Arabs?
This is where we have to divide this at. Remember, at the time when the Moors came, the Jews came down too. When the Moors was, I'm talking about the Sephardic Jews. I ain't talking about the Ashkenazi.
Let me get back to my point, because your point was 400 years in this prophecy, and I'm telling you that the
biblical prophecy, that's in the Bible.
And you keep talking about how important that is. But I'm pointing out that the Africans were enslaved for 1,200 years by the Arabs, by Islam, by going the Eastern.
No, they weren't.
What do you mean?
Wait a minute. From 700.
That's what the Spanish Inquisition was about.
Huh?
That's what the Spanish Inquisition was about.
Black people were ruling in the time of the Spanish Inquisition.
When
they lost the battle at Granada, that's when they lost that battle. That's when they lost their power. But prior to that, You take about Europe. They talk about King James. The whole of Europe was all black, just about rulers.
What does this have to do with the 400 years? I'm talking about the 400-year period.
We separated that from biblical prophecy.
No, we didn't separate
That's
that.
in the Bible, the 400 years. You asked about
I know.
that.
I am discrediting the 400 years because black African people were enslaved starting in the 7th century. So the 7th century is 1300 years ago. That's not 400 years. That's what I'm saying to you.
I'm talking about the 400 years of transatlantic slave trade.
Oh, so a specific. Oh, so when white folks.
Slavery been around forever.
So wait.
Slave trade.
Wait, let me get this straight.
The prophecy starts in 1619.
So did the Bible?
When the first Africans came to the American continent.
That's not true though. That's not a true statement.
I didn't say. I'm telling the 400 years. Where they getting the 400 years from?
But that's not a true statement. 1619 is not the first time Africans was in the American.
It wasn't. I know that.
What are you talking about?
That ain't got nothing to do with the biblical prophecy. Listen, the Portuguese.
What verse are you referencing, Grandpa?
The Portuguese came in 1500. They went all down in Brazil. That's why you got the Brazilians speaking Portuguese.
What verse are you referencing?
Slave trade, but I'm talking specifically about
Africans
the 400-year
Africans were in the Americas tens of thousands of years ago. What are we saying? What are we saying?
Now?
Africans been in the Americas for tens of thousands of years. What are we talking about?
All over the world. They've been African. We've been in China, everywhere.
So what the hell is the 1619?
The biblical prophecy of the 400 years
Grandpa,
that was promised out of Abraham.
Grandpa, what verse are you referencing?
God had promised. Wait a minute now. God promised Abraham
13.
that you would be in captivity in this country for 400 years.
I can't hear you.
He said, but then nigga, you was going to come out with great substances. That's what I'm talking about, the 400-year prophecy. He said, and those who be on the bottom are going to be on the top, and those who are on the top are going to be on the bottom. And this seems to be what's happening right today.
That's what's happening.
Don't you feel yourself coming from the bottom?
Again, I keep pointing to that 3%. That 3%, you don't like percentages. Percentages have always been prevalent. Even during the high times of slavery in the 1700s, 3% of black folks in America was doing well for themselves.
Okay, let's put it like this then. 90% of the wealth in the United States is run by 10% of the population.
Yeah.
10% of the wealth, 90% got to divide that 10% that's left.
Yeah.
So that 3% don't mean it because ain't nobody got no money, but the folks got with the rich, they got all the money. They got 90% of the wealth.
I don't understand. I don't understand the point. I can't decipher. Or did you try to undermine your argument, or did you make the point that this incremental change don't mean nothing? I don't know which one it is.
You talking about the 3%. I'm just saying 10% of the people got to share 90% of the people got to share 10% of the wealth. So that 3% fits right in with it.
Well, I'm only talking about 3% of the black people.
White ain't got nothing either.
I'm only talking about 3% of the black people because, again, I don't give a damn about the white folks. I'm only talking about us. And I've always said, hold on, I've been consistent. 3% of the black community have always done well. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, 3% have always done well. They are still doing well to this day. And
90%, 10% of the white people have always been doing well, but the other 90% ain't doing shit.
I don't understand. I don't understand that point. Like, what point are you trying to make?
Grandpa, the original Grandpa. What verse are you? Grandpa, what verse are you?
10% of the people doing well always going to do well, but the other 90% got to share what's left.
Genesis. There you go. Thank you.
It doesn't equate to anything because it doesn't shrink my figures on 3% of black community has always been doing well. They're doing well today. They was doing well a decade ago. They were doing well 100 years ago, 200 years ago. 3%. This percentage hasn't changed despite the number of black women that you say are rising to new heights.
That's just right in what I'm saying. Only 10% of the people doing well. 90% of the people ain't doing nothing. 90%. That's just what I'm fitting in.
But
You said 3%
90,
of the black
but
people.
97, but 97%.
90%. You said 3% of the black doing well, right?
Yeah.
It's a bad word
3%
problem.
of the black doing well. You got 10% of everybody doing well.
Sure.
So I mean 90% got to share that other 10%.
So 97% of black folks is still in poverty, still got a foot on their neck.
I'm not denying that.
You can't deny it. I'm just as empirical data. And my point is,
back to what I'm trying to say. The money is in the hands of a few. That's all I'm trying to say. You got 10% of the population got all the money, and the 90% ain't got nothing. 90% of the population is sharing 10%.
So you know this. So everything you're saying spits in the face of your incremental change argument of your black women dominating and doing such great things, and us rising in our numbers.
Goes back to my incremental argument is going back to
you just spit on all
biblical prophecy of the 400 years.
Grandpa.
And we have made the incremental change, but now we're getting ready for a big, great change.
Grandpa,
you ain't gonna never be on the bottom no more.
Grandpa, slavery is world history. The part of Genesis was written thousands of years ago. You mean to tell me that they skipped over all those other times of slavery throughout the earth, and this is the time?
What did you say about Genesis?
You got your verse from Genesis 15:13. Talk about 400 years.
Restate what you said, Joshua. You said it was written when?
Thousands of years ago.
What is that? I'm missing something you said. If he's talking about the 400,
what I said
400 year prophecy is in Genesis, and it's also in Deuteronomy. You read Deuteronomy and Genesis, and that'll explain that's that 400 year prophecy.
Right. But I'm saying
and the thing is, and this is the end time of this way of life. It ain't gonna be the end of the world. We'll probably be here another million or billion years. But this is the end of this form of life as we know it. We ain't gonna be on the bottom no more. And you look around and you can see that incremental change. Crystal,
yes,
when you were in Tanzania, did they say anything about Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, the Sudan? There's 7 countries that come together and they form one country right now. And Tanzania is one of them. They form one country over there. I forget what they call it, the Eastern Union or something. But you got 7 countries that got together to form one country. It's gonna come around when all of Africa gonna be united on the one central government, probably.
See, that kind of talk got Gaddafi killed.
I know it did.
I know it did too.
Yeah, he got Gaddafi killed, and somebody else, Juan Nkrumah talked about it. And what did they do? They displaced him. They didn't kill him, but they got him where he didn't have no more power. When he got out of the country, he couldn't come back. but it's gonna come when Africa, and if you look and you see what people was talking about China exploiting Africa. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard, because everybody been exploiting Africa. When they had this 22 nation thing in Washington, D.C., and people say, we want some respect. This ain't gonna go to the United States to tell Africa what they wanted. And now, and this black woman, she was from Zimbabwe. She said, that never no more. We ain't going for that. You ain't gonna come tell us shit, because we got all the resources. We gonna start dictating some terms. It's over, man. Africa right now, they need lithium for batteries. They need oil. They need diamonds. They need gold. They need silver. They need cobalt. They need uranium. They need water. Everything is over there in Africa. And Africa saying from now on, no, we're going to negotiate. You're not going to treat us like no a third world country, you're gonna give us a little something and take all our resources. No, we're gonna negotiate. And so when they say about exploiting, China at least building high-speed railways all throughout Africa. They're building the tall buildings in the tunnel. They're building the shipping ports and all that. If they exploit, it don't make no difference because they're building the infrastructure. And once you get the infrastructure built, you home free.
So
Because
to go back,
you have your own university. You do your own research. You don't have to go to nobody. You don't have to come over here and study. You can study in your own country when you get.
But again, you talking pie in the sky. Like
no, I ain't. I'm talking about what's happening. I'm talking about change. I'm talking about what's going on now. I'm talking about incremental change.
So explain to me why France is getting rich each and every day, and African countries that's still under France's thumb got to trade in the France mark, and they don't even use the mark no more. It's not even a currency in France. Explain that.
France ain't getting rich. France is in a world of trouble now.
No, they all in the world. Now
they talking about Africa or Haiti. They talking about suing France for reparations.
Do you hear
France what they did to them and charging for chattel when they said Haitian people were nothing but chattel?
Okay, I hear you. Did you hear yourself? Did you hear the operant word that you use?
What?
Talking about. There was two of them. They're talking about suing France over reparations.
No,
they ain't cut no check.
Reparation, they're doing it. They're putting it into action. I don't know how it's going to come. But I'm just saying.
It's just like Americans been talking about suing America, right? African Americans been talking about. You're just still talking.
They put things into action. I mean, we may accomplish nothing, but that don't mean that we ain't gonna never get nothing out of it.
They ain't accomplished nothing. That's an important part. They ain't accomplished nothing. And then I'll even point here. I think to go back to what Joshua originally said, what are we gonna do? Because we talking about what's always happening and it could happen, and the truth is still unfolding. Yeah, but what are we doing in the days, weeks, months, and years leading up to all of this unfolding? Like, I was just watching a video on China today. China, in the classrooms, are teaching their children. These children had to be 6th, 7th, no older than 8th grade. They're teaching them Yoruba. They're teaching them the Nigerian languages, right? And they're teaching them the Nigerian languages because they're planning for the next decade or two that they're going to be in Nigeria doing work and all of the resources.
They're already on the East Coast over in Kenya and Tanzania. All of the Chinese are everywhere over there.
I understand, but you're not even getting my point. They're preparing for the future. They're teaching their children the languages of Africa because they're planning to go in and be in control in that space in 10, 20, 30 years. So to go back to Joshua's questions, what are we going to do?
Now, I'm not talking about what we're going to do, but I'm going to give you a perfect example of what China did. Let me go this. China was a third world country, in a sense, up at about 1950, after the war, with the capitalists and the communists over there fighting each other for a little bit of nothing. China closed the door on the Western world because they were running the gunboat diplomacy. They were going up and down the Yantai River with their guns and things, dictating to the Chinese or bringing the drugs into the country. They were doing everything. China said, enough of this. They closed the door up until 1970 when Nixon came and opened up China again. And China said, we're ready for y'all now. And China been moving forward because they went and took care of business instead of letting other people dictate to them. That's what we're going to have to do too.
So what is that?
Just like I was talking about with Tanzania and in Africa. They said there's 7 countries that got together now, and it's one country. They took 7 different countries, and they're going to be sovereign, but there's going to be one country made out of it. And this is where the Chinese are now over there in Kenya. They're building the railroad. Once we get an infrastructure in Africa, there ain't no stopping. It's like the incremental change, and it's happening to me. I'm seeing it and clapping. You understand why do they want? Why they want to go back to Africa now and want to talk some talk when they had all these hundreds of years and they ain't get shit. They ain't get
So,
nothing but
Pops,
rob Africa blind.
what you're talking about is the EAC, East African Community.
What is it?
EAC, East African
That's it.
Community.
It's 7 countries, right?
It's Burundi, the Congo, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania.
Yep. And they build on the infrastructure. They letting the Chinese build the infrastructure. Somebody said, well, they exploiting them. Hell, Africa been exploited, man, for the last couple hundred years. Nobody take out the resources, and they didn't never give nothing back. They give you a few dollars to the dictators and everything, and the people got nothing. But this is a new day. And that woman from when they had this conference in Washington, and she's from Zimbabwe. I think she's president of some union or something. But she was saying, no more. We ain't taking this crap no more. Y'all gonna negotiate us. They're gonna give us respect and talk to us like we people. You ain't gonna be telling us what you want us to do. No, we're gonna negotiate things. She said that day is over, and Africa ain't having it no more.
I like how you be speaking direct and matter of fact, as if like it's fact. But you know,
I'm just talking about the changes that are happening. There's a lot need to be done over in Africa. But I'm just seeing that little change, like Crystal just said, there's 7 countries done got together and say, hey, we're gonna build an infrastructure and we're gonna have our universities and things big, and we can have our own technology. We ain't dumb. Then people say Africans say we ain't dumb. We didn't have no infrastructure. Y'all messed around there and paid off a few dictators or something. And they took the money and then put it back into the economy. That's all.
I am messing with you. I'm just poking holes in everything that you're saying, because you mentioned that the prophecy talked about the transatlantic slave trade and that 400-year period being so important. But now you're hinging your argument on Eastern Africa and those areas that were abused and maintained by the Arab slave trade, which has happened for 1,200 years. But for some reason, that one don't count. But it matters when it makes your point about Africa coming together.
Let me say this. The eastern part of Africa.
The EAC? What was that? EAC?
Eastern, that eastern edge down through there.
Mm-hmm.
Noah had 3 sons. We won't go back to the Bible. Had 3 sons. Ham was one of them. That's that eastern part of Africa. Now, the 400 years, we ain't talking about the Hamites. We're talking about the Shemites. We're talking about the Negro, who they used to call from the tribe of Judah. They called it Judah land, Judah, and then they changed it to Negro land about 1771.
Now
then they want to change it again because they don't want people to know that where you were from, you know.
But these the Shemites.
Huh?
That was the Shemites in Negro land, right?
Yeah, the Shemites, right. And so they differ from the Hamites. And the Bible was talking, wait a minute now, Abraham was a Semite. He was not a Hamite. The 400-year prophecy is talking about Abraham and his descendants. Right on down, they're talking about Isaac and Jacob.
So this EAC ain't got nothing to do with that.
Levi and all the 12 tribes of Israel, huh?
So the EAC ain't got.
The Bible talking about his people.
But the EAC,
the chosen people. When they talk about we are the chosen people, they're not talking about the Hamites. And they ain't talking about the Japhites. They're talking about the Shemites. God chosen special people. And when Jesus come, he come to talk to the Shemites. He didn't come talk to the Hamites.
So again, these Tanzania, the EAC that you just made this big argument about, they're irrelevant because they Hamites.
No, they're not irrelevant. Look,
no, they Hamites. You just said they Hamites.
Right, and I didn't say the Hamites wasn't going to be prosperous. We're talking about the 400-year prophecy. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay.
And the 400-year prophecy. Wait.
So the whole Bible was about
talking about the Shemitic people. The 400-year prophecy is talking about the Shemitic people, and that's us, the Negro. The Negro. The 12 tribes, and then just the Negro, but the 12 tribes of Judah, what we talking about now. We ain't talking about all the African people. Do you see what I'm saying? When you say about the 400-year prophecy,
Uh-huh.
They're talking about the Negro here in America.
So that's what it said in the prophecy.
Huh?
It talked about.
They talk about Abraham was promised something by God.
He's
It was
talking to
promised to the
Abraham.
Shemitic people. Wait a minute, the Shemites.
I'm agreeing
This
with
is
you.
what the 400-year prophecy is about. It's what God promised them.
He was
Not
talking to
all the
Abraham.
people. Huh?
He was talking to Abraham. I got the Bible verses pulled up. He was talking to Abraham. So
Yeah, we're talking right. He told Abraham he's gonna be abundance of everything. He said, "But first thing, well, you're gonna be taken away in ships." Who was taken away in ships? We were taken away. So you're gonna be brought there, and you're gonna work and build a house, and you ain't gonna be able to sleep in it. You're gonna do this, and you ain't gonna be able to wear it, and all that for the 400 years. But when it's over with, you're gonna come out with great abundances.
so it's
You was at the
over.
bottom, you're gonna be
So
on the top.
is the 400 years over?
Yeah.
When the abundance start?
It's coming, don't you? You don't see that incremental change I keep talking about.
You don't want to hear about 3% of black folks always been doing good.
No, I didn't say I don't deny what the 3% is. I'm saying, but you said where's the abundance coming from? I'm telling you, it's coming now.
But I'm telling you that ain't nothing changed in 400 years. 3% of black folks have always been doing good. They doing good right now. They've been doing good for hundreds of years. Nothing has changed. Where is the growth?
It ain't gonna be the 3%. The Bible, the biblical thing about the Shemitic people, it ain't gonna be just that 3%. It's gonna be all of you, all of us.
When does that change?
Grandpa said, anything you talk about with them fake gobbledygook numbers ain't nothing to what I got this book. Grandpa said 400 years, and we have
well, I mean, I can't say if you don't believe.
He said it started in 1619.
I can go along with that.
He had it all the way down to
I'm saying it's coming to truth. It's coming to truth. The 400-year prophecy.
He said January 23rd, 1619. That's when all this began.
From the 400 years, they said first it was 1619, but really was 1555. They had a confusion.
Oh,
there.
you know I was about to bring that up.
And that was 64 years is lost.
I was about to bring that up.
It was going to be before 2019, but it was going to be 64 years. And 2019 is what? 64 years.
From 2019?
Yeah.
That's what, 2083?
1955.
Oh, reversing that. Oh, okay.
What you said? Not 19 what?
55.
Okay, that's when it was supposed to begin.
Oh shit! That's 7 years behind.
And when the 400 years was over, it was supposed to have been then. But somebody said 1619, that would put it to 2019.
Yeah, they're gonna be talking 1719 in a minute.
They said it was 64 years that was missing. That the slaves came in 1619, 1580 something like that. I'm confused now. But anyway, it was the 400 years was supposed to have been over if you went by the other date. But if you go by this date, it's 1619.
So it's gonna be a new date next. Because the Bible conveniently didn't leave a date. So it just left a time period and you can argue.
Yeah, the 400 years. Yeah, the Bible left the 400 years.
Yeah. Somehow
that was the promise. That was the promise to Abraham. And we are descendants of Abraham. We're not Hamites, we're Shemites. But the reason they were saying the Shemites and the Hamites look alike in color because when Jesus Christ was hidden and Moses and all them, they were able to go into Egypt. Well, Egypt was a land of black people. And so they were able to go and hide from the people who were looking for them, you know. So the Hamites and the Shemites look the same. I could go amongst the Hamites and don't be and be hidden as the beer Hamite.
The beer?
But the Shemites were the ones that Abraham was promised by God.
Did you say the beer
Hamite?
Did you say the beer Hamite?
Did I what?
Did you say the beer Hamite?
Beer Hamites.
Yeah, did you say the beer Hamite?
Beer Hamite.
No, he
Yeah,
did
Beer.
what did you just say? What did you just say? That we're the what Hamites?
With Shemitic people.
No,
Shemites.
you said that we were the beer something about the beer Hamite.
No, I didn't say about no beer.
He didn't say anything about beer. I don't know what he said, but
Okay.
But anyway, that was that 400-year prophecy. And it wasn't for everybody. It was for God's chosen people. And that's why these Israeli people, the Hebrew Israelites, they're going around talking that they was meant in that 400-year prophecy. That's who they was talking about. And they were saying that the people over there in Israel now are fake. They ain't the real Jews. And only time will tell. I know this one thing. If that is such a case, we had some people go leave here in 1960 something and went there, and they're there now. There's a place called Dimona in Israel. And I think there's something like 24,000 people, but they left here, a group of people, and they went to Liberia, and then they left there, and they to be accepted in Israel. It was a long time for Israel was accepted being Jews, but they're there now, and they have their own customs and everything in a place called Dimona. There's 24,000 of them there now. But anyway, the Bible is talking about uh, the so-called Jews going to be kicked out. They ain't Jews, they're Gentiles. And the real Jews are going to take over. And it seems to be coming to be truthful.
No, it don't. No, it don't. Them Jews is not, them boys in Israel is not any weaker yesterday than they was 30 years ago. In fact, they stronger. So to say that it's becoming true, like, come on, that's not.
No, you're looking in terms of what they may have in weaponry and stuff.
You gonna have to take it from them. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
How do you
not,
think
not
they got it?
wait a
They
minute,
didn't get it because nobody blessed them
wait a
with it.
minute
They
now.
went and got it.
Then you're missing the biblical prophecy. God,
No, you
handles
missing the
all that.
biblical reality.
No, God, I'm going with the biblical prophecy.
I'm going
And
with
I'm
the
saying that
reality.
God, you don't know what God can do or what He will do, but you
Man,
don't believe in
all them
it.
boys talk about is what God gonna do is give me the strength to go take this shit from them. And that's what they was on. And that's how they got all of it.
You're making the strength. You're making Israel so strong. Israel ain't so strong.
All right.
We give what we give them $4 or $5 billion every year. Yeah, they got the money, but that don't mean nothing when you come into the good Lord.
This
Yeah,
might
I
be our
mean,
last episode, folks.
He can have a good storm or something and wipe them out.
They gonna
I hear what
blacklist
you're
this
saying.
episode. We're gonna
These
blacklist
boys,
this show.
these boys out here causing the storm. I mean, what they got weather machines. This ain't nothing new. I don't know. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't even want to go.
All I'm saying is the biblical prophecy is about to come to pass. That's the only thing I want to
I mean,
say.
that's what they always been saying. I know. We've been
They
placing.
always been saying that, but I'm just
No,
saying
we
that.
always
That's
been
me.
saying that. That ain't nothing new.
This is
But can I?
what I'm just saying.
I know. I've been doing this
What's
and
that?
African ancestry, the DNA
Okay.
kit test, and I know that you go back. I go back. We go back to the Nigerian region as a Yoruba people that goes back thousands of years. Uh, it predates the Bible, right? So I don't know what they saying, but again, in this history and
You talking
reality
about the
type of thing.
Uribas? You got the now. Let's go. That you talking about the Urobas or Uribas? Then you
Yoruba.
got the in Zimbabwe. You got the Ibus. You got so many Jewish people on that coast. It's almost pathetic, you know.
All I'm pointing out is these people existed before the Bible was written. Just the facts. Just the facts. So I'd rather call them that, refer to them as so, and start to understand those customs than to take on something from a book that was written and copywritten by Englishmen. I don't care, you divine, whatever. And I always say, if God wanted you to really know Just like birds know how to fall out the nest and fly, you would know it innately. And it wouldn't have to be no belief and structure and all of that, because this is nature. And if God is everything, God is nature. And at the center of nature is understanding. And that's always been my positioning. I don't
Listen,
have to learn nothing. It's already in me. That's just like the acorn. Inside the seed of an acorn is an oak tree.
we have to
As
have
massive as it is, it's in a tiny little acorn because it grows from the
wait a minute.
inside out, not the outside in.
Wait a
It
minute.
ain't how things work in nature, all around the universe.
We have to have wait a minute. Let me see. We have to have something to believe in.
Who says? Who said that? Who
We don't have to
told
believe.
you
We
that?
can't. We don't believe in nothing.
What's wrong with that?
Everything's wrong with that.
Inside
Life
of
ain't worth
nothing
living
is
if you don't
everything.
believe in nothing.
Inside of nothing is everything, right? If you're not clinging on to nothing, you're just being, you're in the moment. This is what people love to talk about God, but they don't want to talk about nature. Nature is God. If God is anything, it's nature. And the nature of everything is to be nothing. It's just to be what you are and to let it come from the inside out. Again, not being told what you are from the outside in. That just ain't how nature works.
Well, I'll put it
Everything
like this.
grows from itself.
The interpretation of the Bible. I believe in a lot of the Bible, and with the Bible, maybe there might have been somebody who may have changed some of the things, but I do believe in the basic part of most of the Bible is the history. Now we go back to Noah, his sons. You can go back farther than that, but you got to have something to go back to justify your existence. Now, I can't explain it, but I use the Bible to kind of explain some of it. But you have to tell me now what you believe in.
I know I believe in you and mama. And I'll build on that in a second. Go ahead, Chris. I know you got something.
I'm just thinking, like, if something is factual, why is there a discussion about the interpretation of it? Why are we interpreting facts? If it just is, it just is. There's no interpretation of it. There's no, you can read it and it means this to you. You can read it and that means that to you. Oh, well, maybe it meant this. It just sounds like a book of fables where you're just supposed to take what you need as opposed to it being real deal.
Yeah. And I can build on real deal. You asked me, what did I believe in? I believe in you and mama. I've seen y'all two with my own eyes. I'm literally the manifestation of y'all DNA and birthing me. I'm literally here because of you two. And then beyond you two, beyond you and mama, I believe in grandma and granddaddy. And both of them, your grandma, your granddaddy, her granddaddy, because they were together, they created you, which created me. And there's a train that keeps going between us. You ask me what I believe in? I believe in you and mama. Y'all are all of the ancestors that went before them that creates our specific tree. And if there is a God, and if there was a particular beginning, at some point at the end of that train, it should lead to them. And if it doesn't, then that ain't who they say they are. And if it does, then great. I still believe in you because I believe in you and mama. I'm only here because of y'all.
I believe that there
and
is
that's
a
factual evidence.
okay.
That's tangible. That's what I can touch. That's what makes sense. That's what's logical.
I believe there is a God. And I believe that God is a man of color. And you say, what? I believe that.
You would have got me at black woman. If you would
I
have
was
said,
about to say, if there's a
black
God,
woman,
then she
that would have been,
like,
you would have won me over there, because if God is the person, it has to be a woman. That's the creator.
I believe there is a God. And I believe that God prophesied, or he promised something, and he's going to fulfill his promises. And I believe that the time has come now when he's going to reveal what he said. He's going to show the world that he don't go back on his word.
I would, if I had an opportunity to talk to God, I would just ask him or her, why are you playing these games? Like, you create everything anyway. Why are you playing games? Why? Oh, we gotta give them free will. Why? For why? You don't give birds free will. They don't fly. They don't fly south for the winter because they're like, you know what? I'm tired of this cold weather. It's something innate in them that they do it. Why? Why are you playing this game? What is it about you that you keep playing this game with everybody out here? And you let
Maybe
us
this is
feel
a
and
game.
gloat and stress
Maybe there is.
and pain.
Maybe there was something satanic, and who was trying to dislodge God, and he wants to prove who he really is. That he's
If
the
God
all
is in
powerful.
control of everything, how the hell somebody gonna dislodge him? He set the rules. What? So what is Satan like? Satan is equal to God now? Didn't God create Satan?
No, Satan would like to be equal to God, but he's
All right,
not.
then. What are we talking about? So it like Alan Watts says.
What are you saying? There is no God. What are you
I'm
saying?
not saying that. I'm saying I don't know. I'm not really.
You say he's playing these games and things. Now,
No, I said if I had an opportunity to ask some questions,
Her.
that would be my questions.
Well, you got an opportunity to ask him now. Maybe he'll answer it.
It's weird. It's weird because when I ask him, he's always quiet. He never say nothing back.
maybe he who has ears to hear, let him hear.
I
Maybe
got
he
maybe
he answered your question, but
Let
maybe you
me interject
maybe
real
you
quick.
weren't listening. Maybe you weren't listening.
Real quick
Maybe you
because
weren't listening.
y'all have ultimately answered my question. We went from trying to like how do we assemble to fight this misinformation from these Egyptians, modern Egyptians over there, and we can't and it evolved into this disagreement. This exact situation is why we ain't gonna be able to do it. Y'all are.
But anyway, I see the changes. I see the Tanzanias in the 7 countries. I see the world is changing before my very eyes. Nobody else don't see it, but I see it. I see there's gonna be some great changes coming up. I see that we as the people gonna reach the promised land.
I agree.
I'm like Martin Luther King. I went to the mountaintop.
That's what he said. That's what he said. But then also before he passed, or before he was murdered, actually, he also said, "I'm afraid I integrated my people into a burning building." Meaning, oh my God,
he woke up to the fact.
Yeah. Oh, so wait a minute. Then to the mountaintop, he saw the other side, but now he's
But
seeing a
he
different
saw the
truth.
promised land,
Perhaps
but
he
he
didn't
didn't
see
say,
what he thought he saw.
he didn't. When he talking about integrating his people into a burning building, at that particular time, you had the Vietnam War. And let me tell you about when he got when
Let's go.
when
I'm gonna need a refill.
When Martin Luther King started talking about the Vietnam War, and we were fighting for civil rights, and I'm one as thousands of black people saying, uh, we ain't got no time for no Vietnam. We got our problems right here. Not understanding but that they were interconnected. And when Martin Luther King tried to explain that they were interconnected, well, our problems and the Vietnamese problem was interconnected, then they killed him. So what I'm saying is Dr. King grew in his last few years. That's what he was saying about, I think I put my people into a burning building. He saw what was going on. He saw the hypocrisy of all the machine guns and all the makings of the military industrialists and everything. People making money and people dying the same way right now with the Ukraine. People dying for what? Somebody making millions of dollars, man. They sending guns and arming over there, and somebody making it, and the taxpayers paying, and the people dying for what? I bet you ask any Ukrainian person, they probably don't even know why they fighting. They say they fighting for their land. They didn't even know that Russia was going to invade them. Well,
yeah, how you get all the way there? That was impressive.
That's all a part of the end of a new world. Getting another one.
Oh my goodness. I love when you get hyped up, Pops.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
say,
I
Pop
love when you get
fired up.
hyped up. When you get fired up, it's great.
oh,
It just made me think about Thanksgiving with the hat.
I'm just pleased with the 20-year, 400-year prophecy. And I see it unfolding, and everybody else say, no, that ain't gonna be. And I'm saying, yes, it is. And I even see it in y'all, y'all moving on up, And this is the time to make your move. This is the time to make your move.
This is the time to make our move.
The people on the bottom rising to the top, and the people on the top gonna go to the bottom.
This is our time to make our move into the 3%. That's what you're saying.
No,
if you make the move, you're moving into the 3% because if somebody else gonna fall out. Hey Josh, let my other profile in. We I don't know. I know we're supposed to end a long time ago,
actually. We were supposed to end a long time ago.
Why you log in on 2? What are you doing? You muted on both.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
You gotta close something.
I got it worked out.
Oh. Did you do that just so you come down and get some more wine?
Yep.
Wow.
Pops got me fired up. I'm enjoying myself.
It's a good time, man. I'm just trying to figure out.
I'm just enjoying this. I'm enjoying this change y'all ain't seeing, and I see it and I love it.
I feel like Grandpa just being antagonistic at this point.
No, Pops really means it. Like
the whole world is woke now. They waking up all over the world. We woke.
Folks are so confused in sleep, Pops.
Huh?
Folks are very confused in sleep. They are not woke.
They waking up. No, I didn't say everybody now. See, they waking up all over the world.
In what way? Okay, so let me ask you this. So is it enough though? Because I was thinking about it the other day. I was watching TV, and it was a commercial, one of the credit cards or something, or a bank, and they were just talking about how much they support Black businesses and small Black business, da da da. And I was thinking, like, that's interesting that they're running this now, and it's not even Black History Month. Like, okay, kudos to them. And then I started noticing that a few businesses and few companies are talking about supporting Black businesses. And so it made me question, like, okay, are people finally starting to wake up and starting to acknowledge all the greatness that we are, and starting to acknowledge the lack of support that we've received? Or are they just being capitalistic? I don't know, right? I don't know. So I guess if I was looking from your lens, I would say, hey, change is being made because we're starting to get more support and people are waking up to the issues. But I don't know if I believe it.
Well, I was listening to, I might have mentioned this, but I can't think of the lady's name, but she was from Zimbabwe. And she was saying, it's not business as usual anymore. Right now, we're going to be treated with respect. If there wasn't, right now, China, Russia, United States all want to go into Africa. But they used to go in there, they didn't even say nothing. They just go in there and took what they wanted. But in this new world order now, she said, when y'all come in there, you're not just going to come in and point your finger and tell us what you want. No, you're going to treat us with respect. And we're going to negotiate, So this is all part of that, to me, it's all part of that new world.
But I feel like it's been taking a long time for this new world to develop.
It's incremental.
It's incremental as hell.
It's going to be overnight.
It is very, very incremental. It to the point where it feels like the needle is not moving at all.
I'm going to use that. It's incremental. Hey, that's just like I was telling my team this week. Man, we closest we ever been to being $1 billion company. We are we are on the way. We closer than we've ever been. Now, of course, we still $1 billion away. That
My
just
goodness.
I swear.
You are so tickled by that too. My
I
God.
mean, but that's
You know what
Dan.
though?
That's
You,
incremental change, right? We
but you know what
closer.
though?
I'm still $1 billion away though.
But you know what though? You're in a position right now, and if you can see it, because I can see that if you want to put forth there, you could be a billionaire. You know why I'm
Oh,
saying
I
that?
know it.
I'm saying that because
I know it.
now is the time. Now is the time. There's a change. The change is going on,
Woo.
and you can go to the top if you want to.
So Herman J. Russell was born in 1920, and he amassed an obscene amount of money. Maggie Lena Walker, born in 1864. Her daddy was a Irish Confederate soldier. Raped his mama, right? So she opened a
What?
bank. She opened a, huh?
You say raped his mama?
Yeah, a
Who
Confederate
did?
soldier.
Oh,
She was in Virginia.
well, did
That's
you
when
know
she
that?
was born in
Did you know
18.
we had? Did you know we had Confederate soldiers and black Confederate soldiers that fought on the
Yeah,
side of the
this
Confederacy?
was an Irish white boy. This wasn't
Oh,
no
okay.
black dude.
I'm just saying we
Yeah.
had some black Confederate soldiers.
But my
They
point
haven't
is,
got no.
my point is, in 1864, when black folks was quote unquote struggling, just fresh out of slavery, right? She was born, and she went on to open a bank, charter a bank, and be the bank president as a black woman. Hired the community, brought the NAACP in, funded the ballot, led boycotts. They shut down the streetcar machine there in Virginia, the Richmond area. When the 29, the crash happened, she consolidated her bank with other banks in the Richmond area. And that's how they survived. And that bank is still around today. Like, so yeah, of course I can become a billionaire. They can do that then. I definitely got more opportunity than
Do
they
it
did.
now.
But it's still only 3% of us that's doing anything remotely close to that. So everybody has the potential because she grew up, I mean, in pretty dire circumstances. Let's
What
put it
what
that.
what does 3% equal to?
3% of 15 million? How many people?
What
How
of
many?
black people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's,
3%.
there's what there's what 44 million black people in America.
Oh,
Give me
44
3%.
million.
Yeah, it's like 44. That's 15 million families.
Say that
So it's
again
about
now.
it's like 15 million families in America, black Americans in America.
Oh, so we got 15 million
100?
people.
No, 1 million. 1
So that
million.
3% is 15 million, eh?
No, 3% is 1,320,000 people.
1
So you
million
gotta
people.
you gotta divide that by 4 because, like he said, we're talking about families. So that's really like children included that are growing up in these epic environments. That sounds about right. So you could say, yeah, the number is growing. Look at all these more people doing great. But remember, there's 44 million black people, and we're talking about 1 million of them.
But you got to remember, too, things are changing. There was a time when we took a step forward and the United States Congress would come up with some legislation and put a step backward. But now we're in position now to stop a lot of legislation which would have brought us back, but we dare not to say, no, we ain't going for that.
So
That's where that change is coming in at.
yeah, well, let me show you the same. You say the change. Let me show you the similarity. Ignorance, because we're doing the same thing. You putting your passion and your backing in the politician and the ballot. Maggie Lena Walker, who I spoke about in the early 1900s, she said in order for us to make a change, we got to move beyond the ballot and into our dollar. And she was speaking to the collective black dollar, which we got the same thing now, only we spend $1.4 trillion of it every year, but we refuse to use it as a weapon. Everybody else use their money as a weapon. And we got a great opportunity. Oh, that's going to be my speech. Use your money as a weapon. Oh, I didn't. Oh, this
during the Reconstruction period, the black people were really making a big move. The only thing that kept us from progress was because you got to watch the politicians. Now, in 1877, when the Republicans and the Democrats got together and took the military soldiers out of the South, that's when Jim Crow stuck his head in there. Him along with the Ku Klux Klan. So we got to be there now to prevent those things from happening. We can't have a president to sell us out to be president.
Yep.
I didn't even say nothing. Don't even see.
Go for it.
I let it go.
All I want to say is to whoever the person is who's been watching this for an hour and 45 minutes, y'all are elite. There's been other people watching, but there's been one steady eye that's been watching this whole time.
Cheers to you, young man or woman. You got us going today.
Yeah, but I'm just making popcorn for the conversation. It's too.
I got me a lecture that I'm gonna do a talk out of this. Black folks, use your money as a weapon. That's gonna be my talk.
I like it.
I like that. I'm about to. I can bring in some history. I can talk about what we can do and how we can use our money as a weapon. I love it.
That's what we're gonna do.
Nah, I'm gonna see to it.
We're gonna do. There's a change coming, man.
I'm gonna see to it because I'm gonna act like the Chinese acting. I'm gonna go tell this to the babies. I'm gonna teach the children this. Use your money as a weapon. I want you to start now. When you're young, give them an understanding of finances, economics, how it works in the community, and I'm gonna tie it into history. Ooh, we going.
Somebody just recently was talking about the NAACP, and everybody was talking about the NAACP can't do this and can't do that. And this particular guy said, "Well, how can they when they got a board of 10 members and 7 is white? Expect no progress. So those things we have to change. We just can't let somebody come into our organizations with a little money, and then they're gonna direct the direction in which we go in. No, we just got to isolate ourselves from them and have our own little group.
Oh, you mean like the Nation of Islam?
To the black people.
You mean like the Nation of Islam?
Black folks,
well, I mean, if Nation of Islam fit the bill, then so be it.
They the only ones I know doing the only thing for themselves.
Black folks be scared. Black folks feel like we need white folks. We need their support. We need their
blessing.
We need their blessing. We need all of it. Without them, we can't do nothing.
Just so you're aware.
Mr. Charlie needs to be involved.
Okay. Well,
final thoughts?
Yeah, ready.
I'm getting my popcorn ready. Shoot, conversation getting good. Got pops over here. Oh shoot, cussing and yelling.
Yeah, they fired up today.
I think too, I have been consistent in one thing.
Incremental change.
All agree with me on this.
3 things.
And I have said that the black woman is our liberation. The black men have been fighting. And now he got somebody fighting alongside of him. That's our liberation, man. This is all part of that 400-year thing, We got some powerful black women out there, man.
What you saying? Black women just started getting on their feet?
Huh? No, I'm just saying. They're in position now to help. And they are doing it too. And I'm telling you, man, that's our liberation because when you back down, they step up.
Man, it sounded good until you made God a black man. I thought you was going to say a black woman.
We've always been standing there, though. Like
that's what I'm
saying. Now you're in position maybe to do more. You've always been behind the black man. But now you got black women on TV and on radio and everything, and they speaking their piece.
Sound
Well,
like
they
that
never had
1.3 million.
I remember in 1950 or 55, along in that area, 60, there wasn't a black person on TV to speak. They even be seen. I remember when somebody like Sammy Davis Jr. got on TV, they said, hey, 8 o'clock tonight, Sammy, we have a black man on TV. Now you got the TV loaded with black women spreading the message.
But now TV is also irrelevant.
Huh?
TV is also irrelevant now.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
How is it irrelevant?
You the last generation. Well, who before me? Hank and Kenny. They the last generation that watched TV, man. TV done.
Streaming, all that stuff is the same thing. Black
Yeah, but you don't. Everywhere. Yeah, but you don't see our generation and younger like watching the news and the network stations anymore. It's all of these.
But it don't matter where you look, and we still there though. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
Like you can do.
Yep. Because on Netflix, we're even more prevalent.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Because I'm thinking about some of my former gyms. Like, what's that stuff like News Now, whatever? Like the little pop news stuff. Like, they're still black kids. They're still black folks. Like,
No. You're right. You absolutely
everywhere. We everywhere. Folks can try to get rid of us, but they can't.
Yeah, but again, I like that he made us break down the numbers. That's part of the 1.3 million of that 3%. So you got 1.3 million. And what is the book? Somebody talks about how to keep the bag over the heads of the black people by putting more and more quote unquote successful people in front of them. So
it's called it's called the decadent veil.
That's the concept, the decadent veil.
That's what it's called. What you're describing.
Okay.
So it was coined. I want to say it was coined by Antonio Moore, but it might have been someone else. Forgive me, whoever saw that. But it's the idea of whenever black people talk about, well, we're downtrodden, we're owed this and that, and from society for these reasons, white people can point to, well, you guys got Oprah, you guys got LeBron James, and it's this veil of black people they can point to that they could see and say, well, y'all could just work harder. But in reality, black people's net worth in America has not changed post-slavery. We own 2%. We own 2-point-something% of the wealth after we were freed, and we still only own 2.7% now, and it's been 200 years. Like there's been no change.
I rounded up.
Think of that. That sounds pretty good because that gets back to what I was talking about.
It sounds pretty good.
90. Yeah, because I was talking about 90% of the wealth is amongst 10% of the people. So that sounds good. We got 2.7%.
No. You don't got 2.7% of 2.7% of the 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's about right. When they put 10% for all the poor people.
No. That ain't what fit into there.
No, Grandpa, you're missing what's being said. Black people control 2.7% of America's wealth. That means the 1% of that 2.7% is controlled by the 1% of black people.
Yeah.
That means we have an even smaller number. So it's like this.
Okay.
The Census Bureau came out with data saying that the average white family is worth 10 times the average black family. Grandpa, hold on. Grandpa, hold on. Grandpa,
you gotta hear Joshua out.
Grandpa, the Census Bureau came out with data. This is from a few years ago that said the average white family was worth 10 times that of the average black family. That's just around America. But when you break down the actual individual numbers, like say you take out black people who are immigrants, or people who came over here with money, or people who or like the super rich, let's use some of those numbers. The average black family, when you take out the depreciating assets like the car, the couch, things like that, is only worth $1,700. While the average white family is worth $170,000. Wow. That is economic collapse.
You know how they come to that number? You know how they come to that number?
This is the Census Bureau. They took a census.
10%. They took that 10%, man, and spread it amongst the people. But the total wealth, 10% of the people got 90% of the wealth. Now you got to take that and spread it amongst it. Then you come up with
Grandpa, I just
Yeah,
told you
that's
the
what
actual number. I
that's
just told
what
you
he's
the actual
saying.
number.
So look, hold on, Josh. Let's use your numbers, right? So 90% of the people got 10% of the wealth.
The people.
Right. Okay. Now, inside of the 2.7% of the economy that black people have, right? 90% of that money is owned by 10% of the black community. So the only reason that 2.7% is so high is because 10% of the black community makes way more, makes basically all of that money. And then the 90%.
Same thing with that's what I'm talking about. The same thing applies to the white community. The only reason you get that 100-something thousand per family is because you taking that 10% of all the wealth and you're going to divide it amongst the people. But there's somebody who ain't got nothing. Wait a minute.
I'm not disagreeing with
nothing.
I'm not disagreeing with you. The point is exactly what you said. So black people own 2.7% of the economy, right? But 90% of that is owned by 10% of black people. It's the
I'm going along with that.
Okay, you can go along with that. Here's the point. That was the numbers a few hundred years ago. It's the exact same thing today. Nothing has changed. That's the whole point. Nothing has changed.
No, I disagree with that. But the part that changed,
those are facts.
Wait a minute. The whole political structure has changed. And like I told you, I can go back 50 years and we didn't have nobody in the Congress. One man. And he was in the House of Representatives and they kicked him out. I'm just saying there's changes in the
What is that doing? What is that doing to the economic numbers that you just
there's a change in the political structure. A lot of stuff that would have got by don't get by now because we got a black caucus to stop some of the legislation.
What is that doing to change the numbers that you just talked about? 10% of people own 90% of everything. 10% of black people own 90% of black wealth. What is a Congresswoman, Stacey Abrams, or any of those people doing to impact any of those numbers?
No, they impacting on certain legislation, man. No, I mean, you can say what you want. It's a matter of time before the change will be realized. But they impacting a whole lot of things. You want to like they ain't doing nothing. That's wrong.
170 years. 170 years, these numbers have been the same. In the black community of black wealth, 10% of black people own 90% of black wealth. This is 170 years at a minimum. Up until right now, the numbers are the exact same.
Well, then 10% of the white people just say you can apply that to the white people too.
Yes, that's where we get the numbers because this is where statistics come from. You have a bigger sample, you got a smaller sample. It both ways true in both of them. It comes down to capitalism, right?
Let me sum this up. You're telling me that we haven't made political or financially, we haven't made no impact. We ain't changed nothing. That's what you're trying to say?
Zero. Yes, exactly.
Not that I came by.
Only because you're standing on faith and belief.
I mean, you telling me the political thing is the same way it was in the past.
Grandpa, politics.
How many senators you got?
Politics are tied. Politics is tied to wealth.
Let's run for no office or nothing then.
Grandpa, politics is tied to wealth. If our family situation has not changed, that means we have not gained any power.
Wait, I gotta go get me some popcorn.
Well, I'm saying
or tied to power. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're gonna say ain't no change at all, and I'm saying that it's hopeless. Let's get out of politics. Let's get out of everything. Ain't no change. We don't even want to be there to stop them. Let all them legislation for everybody have legislation they want. Because ain't no change. And I can't believe that. I can't believe that.
But what they're saying is, it looks pretty. It's like lipstick on a pig. So it looks like change been being made, but economically, Black folks as a whole are still in the same place. Financially, economically.
I don't know. I'm looking out of a different window.
Well, Grandpa, that's not the factual. That's not the factual window.
You say nothing changed, and I'm saying something changed. A few years ago, right here in this city here, you were confined from Inkster Road to Middle Belt, and now you can go and buy some property or something anywhere in this area, and ain't nothing changed. I just can't buy that. I don't know what they
Grandpa, just because they let you buy more stuff does not mean you in turn gain more wealth.
I didn't say gain more wealth. I'm just saying there's a change
that's what we're talking about. We're talking about wealth. We have not gained any wealth mathematically since we got out of slavery. So if that's true, that means there's no change that have happened. Grandpa. So I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this, Grandpa. You're talking about change like in this case. In the 50s, this is a hypothetical situation. In the 50s, you were only allowed to drink regular milk. But now in 2022, you can drink chocolate milk, strawberry milk, banana milk, whatever milk you want, but you still don't own the cow. That's what we're saying. They gave you the more options, but you don't own nothing. You don't got no money. That's it. It's all an illusion because
they're just giving you the option to give them more money.
Exactly.
I'm reloaded.
Well, y'all, only thing I'm saying is, y'all will tell me ain't nothing changed, and I just can't. I'll never be able to buy it. I'll die believing that it has been some changes made. Now we may have a small percentage of the total wealth, but I see all over the world there's been some changes. I'm looking at the structures that are putting up all over the world, and people who are beginning to wake up. Just like right now, they was talking about Haiti and how the black man had to buy. He was chattel over there, and he had to pay France for his own freedom.
Still
100-something years he had to pay, and somebody gonna say there ain't no changes?
They still do pay France.
Huh?
They still pay France.
But they've been some changes made though.
Now if you still paying?
Huh?
Now if you still paying? No. How is it a change? How is it a change in Haiti if they still paying the
debt? I don't know about whether we still pay or not.
We are. It's
factual. I understand that the debt was cleared up now.
Who said that?
I understand that the United States had a part in playing that kept France and the United States blockaded Haiti. They make them pay this chattel. They call all the people who freed themselves call them chattel, and they had to pay for the chattel. And I understand that they paid the chattel off after 100-something years. Now maybe I'm wrong.
You know what, Grandpa? Hey, Grandpa. They finished paying off France in 2016. They had to pay it all though.
Yeah, I thought you said they paid them off, right?
They finished paying France.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but it wasn't America doing nothing. Haiti was just forced to pay.
Huh?
It wasn't about Haiti. It wasn't about America or anybody doing nothing nice. Haiti was forced to pay.
I said America helped blockade Haiti and France so that the people had to pay.
Yeah, but like you're saying,
they call them cattle and say, well, y'all got to pay for the cattle that y'all lost.
Right, but Grandpa, your argument was there was change because of some benevolent change. That change was because Haiti didn't pay the money off. That wasn't a good change. That's a loss. Haiti's is still economically destroyed.
They paid in full for all the folks that freed themselves. And I call them chattel, just like we were chattel.
Yes, Grandpa.
We had no rights. We were chattel.
Grandpa, you're not Grandpa. no one in that situation won. They still had to pay France. France won.
I didn't say
It's not
we
a good
won.
example.
No, I was talking about the United States involvement in it.
Yes, that makes it worse.
With the Louisiana Purchase and all that, when France
That
was
makes
trying
it
to get
worse.
money, the United States was in on the slavery because at the time when Haiti became free, we was still, this was before this about 1804, 1810. When we had slavery in this country, we didn't want it to spread. So we're gonna stop that thing over there in Haiti to keep the slavery over here in this country. So the George Washington and the Thomas Jefferson and everything, they were fighting, man, to keep Haiti on the routes.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. All this is pretty consistent with suppression, holding us back. Ain't nothing
But
changed.
I can't get over the thing. I can't get over the thing that we ain't made no changes. I cannot.
Grandpa, you just proved that we didn't. You just said America helped France to take money from Haiti. You just said that.
I'm talking about 18 something. I'm talking about 1804 when Haiti had their independence. They got rid of slavery over there, but we still had slavery here to 1865. The United States was trying to preserve that slavery over in Haiti. They were trying to preserve it, so they were going helping the French. They were helping the French try to keep the people under slavery. You know, that's what I'm talking about. Now
But-
they was
But we never said nothing different against that, though.
huh?
Nobody like refuted that.
Oh, I didn't say you disputed that. I was talking about what I was talking about now. I was talking about changes. There've been some changes made.
Okay.
No, you know what? Grandpa didn't say they were good or bad changes. He just said change happened.
I just said it was changes, y'all. That's all I said.
He's like, it's y'all fault for thinking that there was a good change.
Well, I think after hearing him say there's been some changes, I'm gonna soften my position because I would think he was talking about substantial changes. Right?
It was incremental.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the Dion thing. I thought he was serious about the deep end of it, right? I made some assumptions on my own. So I made some assumptions here. He's just talking about any type of damn change. All right. I go for that. Like, there has been some change.
There's been a lot of change.
Grandpa's like, Cracker Jacks used to cost 25 cents back in my day. Now they down 35.
No, 25 cents back then. That was like
It was probably a penny. There was a penny, boy.
Yeah, but Grandpa's like, that's how change I'm talking
You get 2 movies and a comic book for a nickel. I remember that.
That's why I'm like, heck no, it wasn't no quarter. But that was paying the doggone rent. No.
Well, I still see a bright future. I see the changes, and I see the big changes, and I see the biblical prophecy coming to fruition. Yeah.
I am not negative on the black and African future. I'm mad positive. So I definitely see a bright future. Well, I'm not being delusional. We in a fight, boy, and we better wake up because each generation gets sleepier and sleepier.
We always been in a fight, but I'm saying that we're gonna rise to the top. We ain't gonna be on the bottom.
I hear you. You know, we going to and we are rising. It's different. That's different. You know, we got work to do. I don't know. It ain't no. And you got to understand where I come from. I don't have.
We haven't spread our wings, man.
All right, that sounds good.
We got the power. All we got to do is come together with it. We got the power now.
That sounds good too. But we got to remember where I come from. I don't got no biblical father that's about to drop in and bless us and advance us forward magically. I don't know what that look like. All I know is we got to put in this work. We got to talk to the kids. We got to get the next generation up. We got to get these dudes together. We got to start building our unity and our
community too. And we're doing it.
All right,
we're doing it.
I hear it.
I'm telling you, man.
All right. Like I said, I don't know if it comes together divinely, but somebody gonna have to put some work in. I heard a good quote. I was listening to Earl Nightingale the other day. He said he ran up on this farmer, or somebody runs up on this farmer, and it's like, oh my God, you have such a beautiful farm here. You know, I see the flowers and you got some beauty along with your crops. He said, yeah, I got this place from God. You should have seen it when he was just left to it by himself.
What?
Yeah, now meaning when he showed up, the place was a mess. He had to clear the land and toil the soil in order to create what you see today. It ain't magic. When God had it by himself, he wasn't toiling the land. He wasn't toiling the fields. He wasn't attending to the details. So it looked like a jungle. When he got there, he cleaned the land. He said it probably more.
Beauty is in the eyes. Wait a minute. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. If God come back, he might well say, "What did you do to my land? You done messed it up. Put a whole bunch of gravel and roads and dirt shit on it. I had pure beauty. And you come along there talking about what you done." It was when I had it.
Grandpa's changes be like, hey, man, I remember Martin Luther King was alive and then they killed him. That was a change.
That was epic right there, man.
You are a true Freddie Taylor. That's that Freddie Taylor refused to be wrong. Go find a way to be right. That man said beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. He thought he cleaned the land up, and God said he messed it up. Put all that crap on my land. You know?
Oh my goodness.
That was awesome.
That was it. I think we got to wind it down on that one.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so that's my final thought. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and that change is always happening all the time, good or bad.
That part.
Oh,
what's your final thought, Auntie?
I don't even know if I have.
Hey, this was the show of the year.
I don't know if I have one. If I go back to the topic, ain't no such thing as blackwashing history. All history is black history. So there you go. That'll be my final thought.
What was it? My final thought is, what was the topic like?
Exactly. There we go.
Oh, that was the show of the year, man. That was
my final thought is what people have been saying all along. Black history, read the Bible.
Oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh, drop the mic.
What?
It's been real. Show.
He said people is just him looking in the mirror.
Oh,
he's like, people been saying this.
Boom.
He's like, people been saying this now.
OMG. He said, if you want black history, read the Bible.
That's right.
Hey,
it's about us.
Auntie.
It's always been about us.
I made change. I had some change in this glass. Like, it was up to here, but now it's down to here.
Right. You made change. I made change too. I changed from tea to wine. That was change, like a mug. Oh my goodness.
We incrementally changing our history.
Oh my goodness. Where'd you had spiked eggnog?
No, I had Mariah Carey's Black Irish. It's like
that's supposed to go in coffee or something.
It's good. I'll tell you that. It's good.
No,
I'm thinking that's supposed to go in coffee.
Dang in there with water.
I got me some water. Because God would come along and say, well, at least you didn't mess it up with a whole bunch of other stuff in it.
Hey, did you read the side of that label? Say what's in addition to that water? God make water that drop from the sky. It's something else in there.
Oh my God.
No, this is distilled water. Nothing in it.
What that mean?
God's water.
That means something, don't it? God say you gonna distill my water?
You gonna distill my water. I can't with y'all. That's hilarious. Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny.
This has
goodness.
This has been a great episode. We spent all of all of 5 minutes talking about the original topic.
All of it.
Because I just gotta say this, nephew. Like, I'm glad we had a conversation, but it was still asinine. Like, real talk. Like, seriously.
Now she's starting the convo.
I'm not, and that is not an invitation for you to come down here and have this conversation. But it was asinine to begin with. Like, it makes no sense. Like, it still makes no sense to me. The math ain't math, and I can't wrap my brain around it. And no, and I say we probably spent 7 minutes talking about it.
Right.
Maybe.
Including these 2 that she just used.
We try to be consistent on the entitled beer ranking show. What it is. But yeah, are you guys? Wait, you guys are gonna be here next week. Are you guys still coming? Was I wrong?
We won't be there on the Wednesday.
You said on the Wednesday?
Mm-mm.
What's Wednesday?
Now we
Well,
leaving like
Joe.
Monday.
Hey,
We're
y'all
trying
come
to figure out when we coming though, because
y'all come out on the weekend?
Can we stop the recording?
yeah, let's stop the
Oh.
recording.
I said you come
All right,
out
in
coming on the
broadcast.
weekend.